Hello, this is Andrew Powell, and this is another devlog video. This video is a little bit earlier than usual. I like to make these on Sunday, but I figure now is a good time since I don't think I'll be getting much more done tomorrow anyway. But before I actually get into the, I guess the update and some of the feedback that I got in the last several days, I want to go through the level again. Yes, one of the things I added was a way to restart the level. Alright, so I'm going to skip past the signs and just run through it. Oh, I missed a coin. It's actually faster than wall jump there, but I'm playing it as though a new player who doesn't know the controls until they reach the sign that explains it. Alright, time for the hard part. Rip. That actually might be my best time, now that I think about it. My best time, I believe, is 2:30. Well, that's getting all the coins, and I did not get all the coins that time around. But, yeah, so, for those who've been, I guess, paying attention to these devlog videos, um, so in the last week's video, so there's really not been any new mechanics added. In fact, I've been, in the last week, I've only refined the mechanics that have been there. I guess I added the star to reset the level once you get to the end. That star is going to be the end of level um, collectible, as I call them, which is the same in the original version of Slayer Knight. When you hit that star, that signifies the end of the level, and that's when you're judged to see if you made the rank Slayer Knight based off your time. So all that's really the same. I'm just kind of reusing a lot of that stuff. But now it's in version 2 of Slayer Knight. I also added the ability to restart the level, and then also close it, but I'm not going to hit that button. Let's see here. I also added a whole bunch of extra, like, decorative features on the level. Now you have, like, the different graphics in the background. So, let's see here. In terms of optimizations to the, like, the current set of mechanics, let me see, I have a list here. So based off some feedback that I got last week, like before Friday, I actually made some adjustments to the jump. I think one major feedback that I got was that the jump felt very inconsistent. So now, to kind of fix that, there's really only two jumps. There's a light hop, and there's like a long or a higher jump that you can do. And I think that's enough control for the player without giving them too much control, so it feels like it's really difficult to kind of keep doing a consistent jump when you need to. I also added a whole bunch of what I call grace frames. There's probably a better word for this, or an actual technical game development term. But the idea is that um, I'm going to add a whole bunch of time or frames so that a few actions are easier. Like for instance, coyote frames, right? If I'm, if the character hits like the edge, um, the knight will actually move up onto the ledge. It's very slight. I didn't want to add too many coyote frames, just because there is the wall jump, right? So if the player like hits the side of the wall, they're supposed to use the wall jump to get themselves on top of the ledge. But for those cases where it's really close, the quote-unquote grace ledge correction will take them over the ledge. And I added a whole bunch of that type of stuff when it comes to the wall jump. So before you had to be like super up against the wall, but now you can actually be somewhat off the wall. Well, your collision box can be somewhat off the wall, and then you can still perform the wall jump. Plus, if you hit the jump button too early, you just automatically just jump once you hit the wall. So there's a bunch of those little things that I added to make the feel of the game obviously feel a lot better. And then last Friday, I'm part of this Huntsville Game Dev meetup group. In fact, I'm one of the 3 organizers. We had a meetup last Friday. Went pretty well. It was really fun. For those of you who, I guess, look at my Twitter or Facebook, I guess I don't really have my Facebook posted anywhere, but I believe I have my Twitter posted somewhere. If you check it, I posted a bunch of pictures from the event. But one notable thing is that I had a little demonstration for this platformer demo of Slayer Knight, and had a bunch of people play it, especially using the gamepad. And I love these type of events because you can see the person play the game, and then you can just directly interact with them, and you get some really nice feedback from those type of events. So might do one next month, probably not, partly because I want to make sure I have enough for people to play around with, and I got a bunch of quote-unquote issues. By the way, when I use the word issues, I'm really referring to like GitHub issues, because that's how I store all the things I need to do. But basically I got a bunch of suggestions from some of the members there after they got the chance to play around with the demo of this game. So one good suggestion, I'm just going to go down the list because I think they're all really good suggestions. Although I'm not sure if I'm going to implement all of them, but I'll likely implement most of them. First suggestion was animate dust effects when Knight's wall jump is ready, and potentially trying to get animations to indicate that the Knight's sliding down the wall. Excuse me. So when the Knight is on the wall, there's a little orange glow effect here that indicates that your wall jump is ready. This is unfortunately not the clearest indication. I don't think it's bad, but there's definitely better ways of doing it, and it's a pretty good suggestion to have like a little dust cloud that you see. And I do have like a bunch of assets that include like dust effects, right? So when I hit the ground or when I dash, I do have a bunch of those dust effects. I'll try and see if I can figure out a good dust effect that I could layer on top of the Knight. Well, not on top of the Knight, but layer with the Knight as the Knight is like going down, and that dust effect will indicate that, hey, your wall jump is ready. And if I'm able to get my hands on animations of the Knight sliding down, that would be even better, because then I could just have the Knight play that animation when their wall jump is ready, and then when they use their wall jump, they'll just have the falling animation to indicate that they don't have a wall jump available. Another suggestion was implement a way to make the character fall down faster. The friend of mine that played the game suggested like holding down the jump button. I'm probably not going to do that. In fact, I don't think I will, since holding down the jump button is supposed to give you a higher jump. And even if you do a hop jump, like a light jump, I think you should still have access to being able to go down faster. So I'm thinking that, say that you're falling on a large ledge, right? Holding down the down button, like like on the gamepad, holding down the left thumbstick, I think should pull the character down like faster. And then on the keyboard, it'll be S for WASD, and then down arrow for arrow key controls. So I think that's a pretty good suggestion. So that's something that I have added to the list. Somebody mentioned they really liked the part of the level where you hit the dash movement reset to reset your dash. You're just kind of zooming across the map. So if you remember those little white bottles on the bottom of the screen, by hitting those, that resets your dash, which means you can immediately dash again. And it kind of feels good to see the character kind of zip across. Like, it feels really good when you get to that point. And one suggestion is to kind of implement a similar feature, but going upward or maybe downward. Not sure if I want to add a feature like that. I have to really think about it. And I don't think I'll seriously consider it until after I get a lot of the like the battle systems put in place, because I wasn't originally intending on having a system like that. Effectively, that would be like a jump reset or something. So I don't know. It's a cool suggestion, because even I admit I would feel really good to be like zooming like up into the level, as opposed to only being able to do it like horizontal wise. But I'm not sure if I want to do that. At least not in this version of the game, or in this game. After I finish this game, I am gonna make another platformer that borrows a lot of these mechanics. I'm ultimately trying to work my way up to build a Souls-like game, but something that kind of combines like the platforming elements of Celeste with like the fighting elements of like Hollow Knight. We'll see how that works out, but that's neither here or there. That's like way down the line. Let's see. The fourth suggestion was lower cooldown on dash ? So probably won't lower this cooldown the dash, but I do plan on having special conditions that will occur that will put your dash on reset or give you more charges to your dash. Specifically, so in the version 1 of the game, there was a boost mode that your character can enter after completing certain conditions, which would enhance your character's abilities. In version 2 of Slayer Knight, this version, I'm planning to have an ascension mode. Damn, words are hard to say today. And I'm going to have different levels of ascension. I'm thinking that once you hit like level 2 ascension, you'll have like a second charge in your dash. That way you can like, dash twice, right? Like build up 2 dashes, you can get larger distances, or you can use them to use them for their invincibility frames. So still thinking through a lot of those details, since I don't think I can officially converge on something until I have a bunch of enemies that I could hit and play around with. But yeah. So the next suggestion. The next suggestion I think is a really good suggestion. I really like this, but implement a way of moving the camera around. So clearly in this game, being able to, traverse the level, doing the platforming is really important. And I do plan on having like far more intricate like level, maybe not far more intricate. Like this platforming demo is pretty linear. There's only one direction. And even in the main game, when I finally get to building up actual levels, it's going to be mostly linear, but there's going to be like branching different ways of getting through the level, right? And I'm gonna keep on doing the whole interweaving the level around. I really like that. And it'd be really cool being able to kind of like scroll over and see what's gonna come next. Hell, I might even have some hidden platforms that require you to like look over and see like, oh, there's something over there. I should try to jump there, and that could potentially unlock some new like faster ways of traversing through the level, or getting access to more powerful gear or collectibles to boost your character. So, planning to use the right thumbstick on the gamepad, and I'm thinking about on the keyboard holding down Control and arrow keys. I think that'd be really fun. So another good suggestion is multiple possible control schemes on the controller, since there are only going to be 3 actions. So there's really only attack, dash, and jump, and my plan is to just stick with attack, dash, and jump. Everything you do is going to be fulfilling conditions in the game, right? Like getting Ascension mode, getting collectibles. But your immediate actions that you can do is just going to be attack, dash, and jump. And because of that, there's a lot of extra buttons on the gamepad, and not one size fits all. So one good suggestion is like, all right, well, you know, right now you only have right shoulder as the dash. Why not make right shoulder, right trigger, and then circle, right? Make all three of those buttons dash. For those who are, they find those other buttons to be more comfortable. I am gonna have a way to like rebind the keys. Don't know if I'm gonna do this for gamepad. I probably should, since if you're gonna have a way of rebinding buttons on keyboard, why not gamepad? But it's really good to have some really good default buttons. And if you're able to have multiple buttons carry out the same action, then hey, as soon as somebody picks up the controller, they're more likely to just hit a button and then get the character to behave exactly how they want, type of thing. And the final suggestion, I think there's a bunch of other little suggestions, but these are like the big ones, is fix the resolution. So I'm not sure how noticeable it is right now. If you look at the text, notice how like a lot of the letters are kind of deformed. Well, the reason for that is because at the last second, when I was making a downloadable executable of this game, by the way, I don't think I mentioned this, but now there is you can download the game and play it, which I highly recommend. But there was an issue that I discovered on Mac where, because of the resolution that I chose, it wasn't able to go full screen, and I do want the game by default, at least initially, to be in full screen, since I think that provides the better experience for a new player. Unfortunately, with my scaling up, what do you call it in mono game? There's a sampler mode, right? I'm using nearest neighbor. I think it's called point-based sampling in mono game, but it's basically nearest neighbor. Because the scaler that goes from the actual number, like actual size of the screen, to like the true resolution is not a integer value, it kind of deforms everything, which I don't think it looks terrible, but it looks bad in certain places. Like for instance, the text I don't think looks really good. Unfortunately, that's kind of a tough problem. I'll have to really think about the resolution, because the screen size that I had initially, the one that didn't work on Mac, that one had a integer scaler to get to the resolution that I wanted. But because that doesn't work on Mac, I had to change it to a different one at the last second, and it looks kind of doesn't look really great. So I'll have to figure something out, which means I'll have to play around with the actual screen size, which will affect the level design. That's something that I should probably figure out sooner than later, because that really dictates what's going to be on the screen. Like it's not hard to change, but it's hard to fix because of how much it affects. But it is what it is. I'll work on that soon enough, but I think that covers it for everything I wanted to talk about. Oh, I guess one more thing. I kind of briefly touched upon this, but one thing that I forgot to mention early on is that now you can download the game. It's available for Mac, Linux, and Windows. Unfortunately, I haven't really tested it on Linux yet, but I assume it should work. And I do recommend playing the game through the Itch app. So you can just download the zip files. I know that works pretty damn well with Windows. But Linux, you'll have to change the mode, like chmod, and make the whole folder, I believe, executable, runnable. I forgot the exact command. It's like chmod plus X or something. But on Mac, not only do you have to do that, but you have to go into your preferences and like make sure you add every file that's associated with it. It's really, really annoying to get it working on Mac due to the whole security workarounds you need to do. And I'm using an older operating system of Mac. I think I'm using, what is it, OS X 12, or it might be earlier than that. And I think the newer versions of Mac make it even harder for you to play certain things if they're not certified. However, if you play the game through the Itch app, then you don't have to do any of that. You can just download the game through the app, play the game through the app, and everything works without a hitch. So If you're playing on Mac, I do suggest getting the Itch app, or you can just play through the browser. But you know, it's available. It's available in browser mainly for accessibility reasons, but the game does play a little bit better on if you download it, and you have access to gamepad. Unfortunately, there's no gamepad support just yet if you play it through the browser. But yeah, I think that covers it for this devlog video. Thank you to those who took the time to watch it, and have a nice week.